Hey guys, it's Kugli again with another video, and this time I've got an app called the Smart Screen for Android, so stay tuned for that. So guys, this application is a very interesting one. I've been using this for some time now because a friend of mine did, the developer did request for a video of this, and it is a really awesome one. Now, what is this application? This is the application which is the Smart Screen application. So let's get started now. What is this? Now, most of you guys may be familiar with applications such as Smart Screen and stuff like that from Samsung and LG and Sony's smart backlight application. What it does is that it actually uses the camera of your device and sees if you're facing the device, and it will basically stop the backlight from turning off when you're using when you're viewing a screen. So it's a very useful feature. I actually use this on Sony a lot because I normally keep it on, and it does work out pretty nicely. The Sony's implementation is that it doesn't just rely on the camera data. It also relies on the motion and stuff like that. So that is really awesome to have. This application is meant to fix the bugs which is related, not the bugs, the problems related to using the camera for these sort of things. Now, number one and foremost, in dark environments where normally people like me dwell, it's not very practical because the camera cannot see stuff better than anything else. So I can't see if you're facing the camera, facing the screen or not, so it really does not work. The problem other than that is that camera does use a lot of battery, and it can drain your battery faster, so that is also a given thing. So that is these are some of the problems which are there in the implementation of these ones. Now, this app does away with those problems by not using the camera to see if you're using the phone or not. It uses motion with the built-in accelerometer. So basically what happens is you open the application, you give accessibility rights for this application, which you have to enable yourself, or the application will tell you how to do it. This is available by this. Just turn on the slider and this will be available for you guys, so just use that. So that's really cool. And you add an application which you want this app to function with. So basically, if you want something like, okay, calendar, whenever I'm viewing calendar, I don't want the screen backlight to turn off. So that is something there. I have just enabled calendar application. It's just as simple as adding it. Now I will go to calendar application, and as long as I am using this, as you can see, Smart Stage perform gentle movements to stay on. So as long as I am using this with my device, as long as I'm having the device in my hand and I'm moving, like slight movements are enough to actually enable this thing to work. There are sensitivity options which I'll get to later, and as long as I'm moving the device, it will not turn off. So yeah, I'll try and give you guys a small demonstration of it. I have set my display settings to 15 seconds because that is the ideal one for good battery life. As you can see, it is after 15 seconds of inactivity, and I will turn on the calendar application and stay here for about 15 seconds. Let's see if that works. So I have actually turned it on and kept it here for 15 seconds. So that is how it works, and it is really awesome to have an application like this to function. So that is really awesome. Now let's see a few options and settings which is available in this device. It is super simple to use. It doesn't have a lot of settings or a lot of bells and whistles, but it does its job pretty normally, so that's really nice. First option is for the Smart Stay widget. In the Smart Stay widget, you do have option to enable motion detection. What it does is basically whenever it detects a motion, it will give you a vibration, and well, this is mainly for testing if it is working or not, not for normal usage, because it will rattle everywhere when you're using this phone. So yeah, and also it has a calibration where low means that you will have to move harder to actually get motion detected, or you have high sensitivity. That just means, I mean, just a tap would trigger the motion, and it will probably, the phone will never sleep in that mode. So yeah, a medium was a pretty good standard for me when I was using the device. So now that's with the smart stay option. Now let's get to the other option which is available with this device. Now this ROM, it's called smart widgets. Now smart widgets is not entirely tied up with this application because it does not really have anything to do with keeping your screen awake. This is just a perk, I guess, but yeah, it is still available, and the developer was quite interested in this one also, so that's really cool. Now what this does is that it gives you a personalized list of stuff, which is pretty useful, and I do have a lot of scenarios where this will be really useful for people, like for example me. Basically what this does is that it gives you widgets. Basically I have enabled two of them. This is the frequently launched one, and this is the most recently launched one. Basically what happens is that if you enable the widget, it will show up with the most frequent launched applications here, and the most recently launched application here. So this is really awesome, and it does work really nicely. But you might be thinking, what's so different about it? The Android recent menu also shows you the recently launched applications. That's where you're wrong. The difference is that this list only shows the application which you enable in this screen. So basically, if you have a list of application which you want to get to rather quickly, and you want it in the order of you're launching the most recently launched or the most frequently launched. Like WhatsApp is something which I use every time, and so the recently launched application, this is at the first of it, and this is really awesome, and it applies to people who have more than just 4 or 5 applications to launch normally. So I am one of those people where I have 20 or 25 applications which I launch mostly, but I want to be able to get to each of the application quickly, and I would really like to have that in the order of this. So yeah, most people will not understand how important this is, because this does seem, at first I also thought this is quite a unnecessary application for most people, but this is really useful, and most people I'm sure can find many uses for it. But this is how I use it for all the application which I want. Normally I have only enabled like 5 or 6 applications here, but this is meant for more than that. I normally use about 25 applications which I want at all times to use. So that is it. So just wanted to make sure you guys get that right. So yeah, that is pretty much it about the application. This is a simple application, but it actually does answer a lot of things which we were asking for. I mean, I'm not really sure if everyone was asking for it, but I sure was, because camera does not really give you a good smart screen option. Just a word of caution, if you're using Samsung, Sony or LG phones, because they have inbuilt smart screen application available. Like in the Sony phones you have a smart backlight control, which is this one. You will have to disable this for this to function correctly, or else this will bork up everything else. So yeah, I have that disabled. So yeah, just for your information. So that is it. Now let me get to a few complaints I have about this, but I don't think this can be fixed with an update of this. First things first, the problem I see with this ROM, with this application, is that it is kind of rendered useless when you're moving. Like you are in a car, or you are in a train or something like that. It doesn't really work all that much, because you will be moving, the phone will be moving at all times, so it won't sleep after you have laid down your phone. So if you have your phone in your pocket, and by some miracle, for example, the calculator application is started, then it will not stop. And if you have the vibration disabled, you have no idea of knowing if the calculator is off or not, and it can drain your battery a lot, because the screen won't sleep and the screen will draw up the battery. So yeah, that is one problem I can see. A lot of people will be facing this. uh, a good way to understand or to correct this may be to use the proximity sensor as a block. If the proximity sensor is blocked, and then the screen won't turn on, and this will be disabled, something like that would be really useful. But yeah, it's something doable, so I would like to have that in the application further, so just like that. Other is that this smart widget stuff, it's useful, but I don't think this has to be bundled with the smart stay option, because it just doesn't feel at home with this application. So just this is just nitpicking, but this is something which I understood. And also, the app isn't perfect. It does work up sometimes, but that is the way apps are supposed to be. It will get updates, it will then be better at doing what it does. So yeah, I am actually looking for a lot of updates for this, because the developer was super awesome. He was really awesome to work with. He did give me a lot of slack for doing this. So yeah, I guess that much is it about the application. I really like this. This is something which I have been asking for some time, and well, I'm not really sure if the developer heard it, but he eventually was actually interested in this too. So this is really awesome. I guess that much is it about the app. Hope you guys like the video. Please share, subscribe, and like the video if you found it useful. See you guys next time. Bye.